Our barn is old and falling apart. Every year we try to patch up the worst bits and hope it survives the next storm. This winter we took on repairing one whole corner. Not just repairing it, replacing it with the glass house. This is the corner of the barn where we lived when we first came here, so there were still the remains of the little rooms we made, including the toilet and the shower. It was tempting to leave the toilet in situ, but I was persuaded that we didn't really need a toilet in the glass house, so it had to move. And to avoid using a pump, the floor of the new toilet had to be raised. Plus we replaced the studwork walls with concrete block as a sort of heat sink. So all in all, it was a lot of work before we could even start on the glass bit.
Whew, bit wobbly, Tim.
Yeah, and there's a storm coming. So.
Storm coming.
Right, come on then. Lots to do.
Nice view of the horses now, isn't it? Without the wall.
Without the wall. Now, I've never built a glass house before, but I know that the metal ones are normally made with T-section bar. But for some reason, that's surprisingly difficult to buy here. I did get some galvanized box iron, though, for a good price. It's nice stuff, but the walls are very thin, which made welding it a challenge for me and my stick welder. The joins are not pretty, but there's so much weld on there I can't see them failing any day soon. Ready? Ready. No. I'll just screw them. So much for the framing, but how to attach the glass to box section, bearing in mind that the panes might need replacing occasionally. Old-fashioned glass houses used putty. I suppose I could have used silicone, but it's very messy. Or maybe that's just me. Anyway, in the end, I went for a strip of neoprene rubber for the glass to sit on either side. That's the same stuff that wetsuits are made from. It comes with a sticky side and is supposed to last a long time. So the glass sits on that, and then there's another strip above the glass, and the whole lot is held down with a steel flat bar. A sandwich of glass and rubber. It hasn't rained since this went up, so actually I don't know whether it works, but I'll let you know if it doesn't. The rafters are just welded onto box iron purlins. I would have preferred to bolt them together, but I couldn't figure out a way to do that. And that's the basic design. I made a door too, with toughened glass in it, and a slightly different way of holding the panes in place. And I made these little brackets to stop the glass sliding down and off the roof. They're made to fit the guttering too. And they went off and they were galvanized just in time before the shutdown. At the same time as making the glass house, I patched up and replaced the roof above it on the main barn. And most of that was old asbestos cement sheets, which are cracking up and very heavy. Unfortunately, they have a different corrugation to the modern PVC and galvanized sheets, so even the good ones couldn't stay on because they wouldn't fit. Anyway, that's it. It all came together quite well, though my old knees didn't appreciate going up and down the ladders. Except some of the steelwork didn't make it up to Cork to the galvanizing shop in time, and it's still here, waiting to be done. So for now, I'm using timber strips instead. They won't last forever, but I hope, of course, to replace them with the galvanized strips one day soon. And the join to the rest of the barn is far from perfect, but perhaps we'll get to extend this glass house another time, so it won't matter. 65 sheets of glass went in. The vertical panes rest on screws, but I put a protective sleeve on the screws first, made from plastic water pipe. One sheet broke. Luckily I had a spare because I don't think I can get any more for a while now. Now that it's almost done, it feels solid. I'm glad we went for 4mm thick glass instead of the traditional 3mm. There's been no wind and no rain since I started with the glass, but I am sure it will be thoroughly tested soon enough. I'm just relieved that I was able to finish it first, despite running out of a few things. And inside, we now have space for lots of little plants, and it's a pleasure to start planting them up. We're filling the beds with muck from the heap, and soil from the old polytunnel which blew down, some of my biochar, some wood ash from the stove, and just a little shop-bought compost for the seeds to start in. We moved the grapevine up from the old polytunnel too. If it survives, its roots can go down under the barn through a hole in the floor. So this project cost lots of money and took lots of weeks, and it's really not very pretty, but it does feel like we've solidified and waterproofed this corner of the barn pretty well, and given ourselves a nice growing space too, and somewhere to sit and drink tea even when it's raining. Only 3 more corners to go, and all the bits in the middle. They're just gonna have to wait.